from that moment, it switched.
Interesting.
It switched. From that moment forward, it switched.
No.
Yep.
So, God, I fuck with that. So
I'll never
that's who
forget
I
that.
am. Like, when somebody said you couldn't, it made it interesting. Give me a straight up story right off the bat of something that you either did that was good, bad, or indifferent, or somebody did something bad, good, or indifferent to you, and Pop
I would
said.
say a thing that really sticks to me in high school is, for me.
So you're in high school.
I'm in high school.
How good of an athlete are you at that point?
At that point in time, I'll probably say I'm a decent athlete. I'm
What year
kind
are
of
you
smaller. This is my freshman year. Actually, I would say going into high school. So like from
Eighth
going from the
grade
8th grade to
yeah.
the 9th grade, I wanted to go to the public school. That was around
Because your friends
around
were
my area, because my friends were going there. A lot of the coaches and things like that knew me. They had watched me play Little League and stuff like that growing up. But again, in middle school, I wasn't the best student. I would get in trouble. Doing stupid stuff.
Dumb shit.
Getting suspended from school. You know what I'm saying? Like the normal like stuff. So
Yeah.
my parents, they wanted to send me
And paint
away.
the picture for me. How rough or not rough, like in the scale of like 1 is
Yeah.
like rough shit to like 10 is like Beverly Hills. Like where does your neighborhood that you grew up in
Yeah.
the Detroit area?
So I grew up. Like growing up, I grew up actually in Detroit, and then we actually moved to Southfield. So I would probably say I went from like a 2 to 3 to like a 5.
Okay.
So, but again, just kind of, and even that situation, I'll kind of dive into that a little bit later. But going back from 8th to 9th grade, for me, I wanted to go to the public school. That's where everybody who was familiar with me, I was familiar with everybody. But my parents wanted me to get away from that. And they wanted me to get away from that to have a different experience, because they saw in their eyes, they saw where they thought I was headed. So
And was that professionally from a sports standpoint?
it was
or just
just
who you were as a, because I get the
Yeah,
privilege
so it
of
just
knowing
was
you.
going
They just
down-
knew you had something.
Yeah,
as a person.
and they just didn't want me to go down the wrong road.
Yeah.
Getting caught up in stuff with my friends and stuff like that. So they sent me to a prep school, an all boys prep school at that, which
And
is
were
like
you just like dead?
I was devastated.
Like when they really finally laid down the like you're going, when probably
Devastated.
Pops looked at you and said you're
And-
going, did you like literally? I'm trying to think of your age group. Did you go like on AOL or like did you go outside and be like, yo, fuck this?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it
I
was.
know what you did.
So
you went to your 3 best friends, said this is some bullshit.
because they had like 7-on-7s and stuff.
Right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because I mean, for me, I didn't know nobody who was going out there. It probably was like an hour and some change away from like where I lived.
Did that school have good diversity because they had good sports, or was it a bunch of white kids?
A little bit of both. The
Okay.
sports had diversity, but
The rest of
actually,
school didn't.
Kind of even
Cliche.
with that.
No, really, right?
Yeah.
Like good prep school,
Yeah.
wants to be good at sports,
Exactly.
bring in the
Normally,
athlete.
yeah.
Of course, yeah, America.
Fresh
It's
Prince.
all right.
Fresh
Fresh
Prince.
Prince.
So
I love that.
so like that's exactly what it was.
Did you like think of yourself as Fresh
for
Prince?
sure?
That's
Especially once I was like a
amazing.
senior.
Yeah,
it
and
was
you
like-
are cute, so I can see how you could pull that off. I get it. Go ahead.
So, so then you throw all that in the mix. So then and this is probably like halfway through my 8th grade year,
Half through 8th grade year when they told you this is locked.
or this is like the play, like this is
Uh-huh.
like in motion, So I go to like kind of like. 'cause
Did
this
they
is
give
the
it to
thing.
you hard, like those kind of parents, or did mom like subtly start
Nah,
hinting
subtly,
you?
subtly, because
Uh-huh.
even this
They had a
school, like,
strategy.
you could take visits, you know what I'm saying? So I missed my own day at like regular school to take a visit to this school, you know what I'm saying?
And?
Like, and it was like,
like, this is corny,
the most
fuck
boring
this.
thing I've ever been a part of in my life. I'm like, I did not want to go here. Like, so.
So you like went through, got in the car, and like, Mom, I'm not going.
Yes, that's exactly, like literally exactly how it was. So then you go like a little bit. So then my dad's like, like they had like a 7-on-7, kind of like in the spring. So my dad took me up there. I didn't get out the car. I told him like I wasn't going there. Like, I didn't get out the car. So long story short, I had a conversation with one of my, in the 8th grade with like one of the teachers. And he's like, everybody raise your hand who's going to Southfield High School. That's like the public school. Then it's like another school like that's like across town. You know what I'm saying? Raise your hand if you going to this school. I didn't raise my hand for neither. I just was that kid. So he like, so like, where are you going to school? You know what I'm saying? I was like, I'm going to Orchard Lake. And he's like, no, you're not. Like, you can't like get into Orchard Lake. You know what I'm saying? That kind of vibe. And from that moment, it switched.
Interesting.
It switched. From that moment forward, it switched.
No.
Yep.
So, God, I fuck with that. So
I'll never
that's who
forget
I
that.
am. Like when somebody said you couldn't, it made it interesting.
Yep, I'll never forget that. Like that was like the moment, and I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm with it. Like I'll accept the
show
fact
you.
that I'll accept the fact that my parents want me to go there. I'm gonna go here, and that's
Just to
that's
stick
what
it to
it-
Mr.
Exactly,
Jones and
for
science.
sure, for sure.